Ladies and gentlemen, and online viewers from around the world, welcome to the 2022 World Telecom Smart City Conference. The theme of this year's conference is Future Opportunities for 5G Private Networks in Smart City Applications. Global telecom operators will share their latest insights, their solutions in building smart cities worldwide, and future opportunities for further business collaboration. And to kick off this afternoon's program, we will now proceed to the very first presentation. The first speaker in the afternoon will be Mr. Tim Lo, General Manager of Transnet Corporation, Taiwan. Mr. Lo has been working in the telecommunication industry for more than 30 years. From starting as an R&D engineer to serving as a senior executive in Alcatel, Alcatel-Lucent, DZS, and Nokia, just to name a few. Most of his working experience involves supporting domestic and regional business development and management, covering diversified wireline and wireless technologies in CSP, MSO, and vertical markets. The topic of his presentation today will be 5G private network, realization of smart factories with Taiwan technologies. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us welcome the very first speaker in the afternoon, Mr. Tim Lo.
Hello? Yeah. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Tim Lo. Okay. It's my honor. Okay. Oh, okay. 那站到这个位置吗? Okay. Yeah, sorry, I have to stay at the platform because online video to share. Okay. First, I want to say, okay, I'm so lucky to be invited by the TCN and the IDB to be here to present our solution. Actually, the time is not too long. Okay, I'll try to, highlight what we can share with the industry. The most important is we talk about 5G. Actually, we talk about 5G is the fifth generation the 5G. It's no different compared to the traditional mobile service, if only service for people. From the first generation MS technology to the fourth generation, already spent almost 40 years. Okay, they focus only on people. Finished. But you have two types of services. One is from outside to the people. Is from internal to outside. So the best in the past is only for the mobile service to the people. 40 years finished, enough. No more service needed from the people. So change the way, okay? If the people want to have a different idea, for example, VR and the AR or MR, what's of that? It will change. The people will not stay at his own position. He can fly, he can dream, he can go everywhere. It's the idea for the 5G, fifth generation technology. So it will be fifth, sixth, okay, go ahead, okay? It's based on the people's service. From the other side is completely different. What's the different? We talk about for the service requirements, okay, we are not talking about people only. We only consider, probably you have some enterprise, some vertical, they also need. So first, I want to emphasize the 5G, they will be available to services besides the people, like an enterprise somewhere, okay? So it's the enterprise. Then we consider from different domains to talk about the requirement service. For example, you can from government point of view, you can from the industry point of view, you can from the people's point of view. We focus on the industry point of view, okay? Taiwan can be one of the contributors for this segment or not. If yes, and also endorsed by government, we can consider, okay? So today, what I want to present, okay, we are the Taiwanese company. All the group is Keystar. Then the Keystar, the company under this group is Alpha. The Transnet is 1% owned by Alpha and funded by the 2018. Okay, why the Transnet is here? Because the Alpha is selected by Taiwan government is the Ministry of Economic Affairs since 2017. Okay, selected for the A+. The objective is very simple. Taiwan intends to go to the 5G domain from the enterprise. Okay, then we need to have the deep technology built from local. That's why the Alpha selected because Alpha is famous the traditional OEDM company. We just do what we have to do. If some brand company asks us to do, then we do. Finished. We don't know what we want, but the government help us to grow up to have this technology. So we focus on the O-RAN, Open RAN. Okay, team up with E3. E3 will focus on FPGA, and besides that, the III focus on the 5GC. So we intend to have the purely local the technology to build a solution. But be honest, we are still far compared with the global company like Nokia, like Ericsson. Is far. So that's why we cannot have the technology capability to pursue the carrier solution at this moment. But for the enterprise in vertical market can consider. So that's why today we want to present what we are doing, what's our expectation on this domain, and to share to the industry. Or maybe we have a chance to cooperate for this. Okay. So background. If you check the PPT, okay. Can we move? Or you have to stay here. If you check from the Alpha, we have many different products. So actually, Alpha today, later page will say we have different products. So the portfolio is cover quite a lot of the netcom solution. Okay, the most important today, the Alpha want to emphasize the 5G and to demonstrate our contribution in this field. Okay. The previous one is to mention some the product can be put under some application. But for this page, it's very complicated. Okay, because we talk about our product can be put like the end-to-end solution architecture. We focus on the 3 parts. We know first important is most important the resources is frequency. Who own frequency? Who can be the key player? On the other side, who has fiber? Okay, he can have a lot of the bandwidth. So that's from the in the air frequency band down to ground fiber. Okay. Besides this, we want to have the synergy. Want to have some the enrichment service. We need the computing. So from our solution, our slogan is okay. From we are focused on the radio side and the optical side, and also computing, like the multi-asset edge computing. Okay. So for this picture, we have right now we are involved on the satellite. So the satellite base station, we are doing some production for this. Besides that, we already invest on the 5G from the RU, DU, CU, and also from home the switch. Okay. From in the optical side, we have ONT, like a fiber to the home the solution, GPON and the XGS PON. And also go to home, we also have the Wi-Fi the technology, okay, and also can be combined together. From the hardware point of view, okay, no doubt, the Alpha could be the one of key player and to compute the contributor for many branding company, okay. But if we talk about the solution and talk about software, we see some gap. Because the most of branding companies, they want to own the end-to-end solution. So that's why we used to be, contribute to support only hardware. But from the 5G, we are selected by government. We say, okay, maybe we can try to do something different. Okay, since the 6 years ago, so we start to invest and try to have end-to-end solution. Okay, so it's all the picture of the whole solution, and we are trying piece by piece to add the software inside, and also find a partner to be the integrate as a solution. Okay, next page. Okay, we know like the FET, they are stronger in this field. They are more focused on this part. Actually, we talk about okay, frequency is always the king if we want to be the player. But in the past, all the band controlled by government. Even you have these requirements. So normally frequency, we talk about 4 applications. One is the government requirement, like military, like police, like firemen. Of course, they need a spatial frequency for land, for the security job, for the mission critical service to support the Taiwan people, for example, like this. So the band always there. So we have no say, okay, the military, you cannot get frequency because the NCC doesn't allow you to have a band. No, they definitely can have the band. But only issue, they should have some regulation to manage it. The second, okay, some people, they want to have some research. So ISM band, in the past, they have like a 2.4G, and also the online band, okay, always popular there. Besides that, before the first generation coming, okay, they are from trunking radio, okay, like Motorola. They convert is for the people application, not the special people use. So it's the amps from USA. Okay, they enjoy it. Okay, now we can communicate with everybody without the place, the position, the restriction. So they have. So, but right now they talk about the enterprise, the solution. So they will have a dedicated band. So right now we are focused on this part. So if the government authorize the dedicated band for enterprise or for the specific organization, then that's a different game rule happened. So right now we are only focused on this part. Okay, if for the carrier side, like Taiwan is a 3.5G. Okay, we can support only hardware at this moment. But for this part, we may have the chance to provide end-to-end solution. Okay, so we are focused on this part. So we talk about end-to-end solution. We are not talking about O-RAN only. We talk about CP, 5G CP, we talk about 5G O-RAN, and also 5G and including the MEC. We can have any kind of the product to be one solution. Okay, we also consider, okay, we are not yet ready to have the solution at this moment because we need time. Even we start from the 2016. Okay, we 2017 got government sponsor the support. Still take a long time. So it's about 6 years past. We are still we can say, okay, we can be ready to present in field, but we are still difficult to have the mass deployment capability. So that's why, based on the time chart, we know from the 2020, we are trying to do the realization of a proof of service. Because proof of concept, we already finished. We did a lot of these kind of cases worldwide. So from the technology point of view, it's fine, no problem. But for the service, reliable service, also the human, the effective solution, we need time. So we say, okay, 2022 we are realized the POS. 2023, we are the 23rd, we are trying to have initiating the proof of business. Then after that, 2024, we are still mass deployment. Then if we start from Taiwan and our solution accepted by Taiwan, the country, the Taiwan, the industry, then we may have a chance to go abroad. So that's why the Transnet will be, how to say that? We are responsible to support all the company to go abroad, but not yet ready today. So we need to more side to prove. Okay, so it's all our view on this the technology. Okay, next page you can see all the product all contributed by the alpha. Okay, so you see on the right side, okay, the translator is 100% owned by the Alpha. Why the Alpha want to create this kind of company? It's very simple. The mindset is totally different for the the OEDM company. We are listen, we are do what you ask. So it's OEDM company. But for the solution, the game rule is totally different. The working model is totally different. So that's why they set up a company. Besides the traditional the company, even we are sitting together, but people totally different. So for the translator, all the translator employee invited by me, outside people from the Telecom, not from Datacom, from the OEDM company. So that's why we have the capable to deal with people. So for example, my member, one from the FET, one from FET, one from the APT, one from the Taiwan Star. So the people should know the operator. The people should know industry. People can, if you know how to design a product, you cannot have different view. So that's why I organize the company. So for this side, the most important part will be the FPGA. Oh, okay. So for low-fi and the high-fi, because we are the Taiwan select 4.8 to 4.9 giga. It's the band N79 is different to the worldwide popular band. So now we do not have the band. Okay, so we do not have the commercialized the SoC like provided by Qualcomm. So we have to design by ourselves based on FPGA technology. The difference is, okay, if you based on FPGA technology, you own the software, you know the source code, you know how to couple with your customer if they have different requirements. So that's our strength today, okay? So it's our end-to-end solution. So right now you can see we have different hardware, okay? Like right now we already have indoor the RU is available today. We also have the 5 volt. Actually, to do the outdoor, the RU is quite different. I think right now the Alpha, we can manage, we have confidence to provide from the 1 volt to 20 volt, the outdoor solution today. But our target, based on our customer requirement, we have to do the 40 volt. But not yet ready, but the 20 volt we can do. So right now we already have a prototype, okay, can be installed in the field for a certain service. And we are, based on this, we can do the cost improvement for the next generation, okay? Then here is our partner. Because for Alpha, we are selected to do the O-RAN. So O-RAN 5, we already have solution. And in Taiwan, we are located in Hsinchu. Yangming Jiao Tong University, they have the powerful free 5GC created by them. So it's a team, it's a long story. Professor Chen, he is a professor. He spent almost his life in this field. Since 20 years ago, he already involved on this field. So right now, they are spin off as a service, the company. So we team up with them. So most of people, they know 5G is not good, free 5G is not mature enough. Is the academic, the solution, education version, okay? Because it's school, it's still free. But for them, they have a commercial version. So we are team up with them for the commercial version. So we're end-to-end solution, okay? So next, we are sharing some of the success story worldwide, okay? So it's agriculture in Japan. We approve the POC and the certain POS. So the interest is in Japan, they have a different band. Japan is from 4.6 to 4.9. They have 2 different bands. One for indoor, one is for external, which gives us a very clear message, okay? Taiwan right now, we talk about 4.8 to 4.9. This band is for enterprise, but I think in Taiwan, right now, for example, right now, this band used by the fireman, the organization. So the band will be collected back by government. Then we'll give some band for them. So for N79, they total from 4.4 giga to 5 giga. The 600 band can be divided by few categories for different services. If it happened, we will be step at a good position because we already have the technology. So this one is for agricultural the service. Then this one will be factory in Japan, okay? So we have a different kind of solution. Actually, right now for the Alpha, we are strong in, I cannot say strong in, we are mature to certain level for hardware because we have more than, I think the 2 digits, the POC and the POS in Japan, from indoor and outdoor. So hardware should be no problem. But the pity is, okay, Japan, they select the Alpha as a hardware provider or ORAN's provider, including software, but not end-to-end. So we don't know what happened in Japan. We don't know what kind of service they provide. We know some the field, we cannot go too deep because our partner, they manage this for their customer. So that's why we need some place to do, okay? Okay. Then this one will be in Taiwan for the hospital. So we know that since the last year we finished for the POC, but the problem is okay. It's provided by us, so we have to get it back. So we have a lot of opinion for this. Because then his factory, right now we are ongoing. Last year we got a government project. So in Tainan, we are doing the factory to do this. Oh, okay. Later on, due to time the limitation, we try to go through very quick. We are not to do the POC, we are doing the POS. So it's real site, it's real field, okay, in Tainan. It's the traditional company. So we go to the site, we do the site survey, okay? We know how to design, how to put, okay? So, okay, sorry. So based on this, we already install the fiber. We are not have a temporary solution. We are permanent to do this, okay? So this year will be the launch the service in this factory. We also have the demonstration in the south because the exhibition held in Kaohsiung. So we have another team in Kaohsiung to do this. Okay, our partner, we are trying to do the POC and POS right now. Later on we will do the POB because our partner, the field and also APK partner, they selected. But for this case, we are provide the end-to-end telecom the platform. Okay. Okay, you can see it's very complicated in the field. We are all go to site to do the different cabling and how to do the pole, how to install, how to connect, how to provide the GPS, everything calculated in field to prove they can provide service. Okay. So a lot of service will provide, but right now for translator, our job is provide the end-to-end telecommunication. We are the leverage the partner. So if you have the application you consider can put on top of this platform, we are welcomed, okay? Because we are not we know what we can do. We focus on what we can do. So no matter the wireless, wireline, the communication we can provide. Sorry, a little later. I present till now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Mr. Tim Low, for your presentation on the realization of smart factories through 5G networks. The second speaker in the afternoon will be Mr. Will Huang, Business Development Director, Wave in Communication Taiwan. Mr. Huang holds an MBA degree from the University of Michigan. Prior to his current position, he was the General Manager of Business Development at DKSH and Product Manager at Gemtech Technologies. In his presentation today, Mr. Huang will talk about how Taipei MRT enables intelligent connectivity with private 5G. So please welcome Mr. Will Huang.
Good afternoon, and thank TCA for organizing this event, and thanks for inviting. It's the third time for me to stand on this stage to share with you our 5G private network cases on behalf of Wavin. Today I'm going to share with you a fun case. It's about Taipei MRT. Should be very related to most of us who live in Taipei. The topic is that Taipei MRT enables intelligent connectivity with private 5G. Next. All right, before we start, let's take a look at a short video made by our partner, Telecom. It's a good video, isn't it? Credits to Telecom. Taipei MRT, or you can call it Taipei Metro, is the biggest smart city arena in Taipei. The project, in a nutshell, we are building the private 5G for Taipei MRT along the subway rails. It's a team effort. We wave in as a 5G system integrator. We put together different components. For example, the Microsoft A4O's 5G core, the Telecom's Open RAN, our in-house designed DAS, distributed antenna system, and EtherWind's industrial-grade 5G gateway. We put them together to be a private 5G infrastructure. That's CT. And our partner, TSTI, is the IT system integrator. On top of the 5G private network infra, they developed quite a few smart applications based on AI analytics. That's IT. And Taipei Metro Company, not only the provider of the POC arena, he also the provider of the OT domain knowledge. Taipei MRT holds a high standard in terms of the service quality in the field of public transportation across the world. We are very lucky to have them as our partner. Last but not least, the project is backed and sponsored by the government, the National Development Council. Okay, you must ask why of us? Why Taipei MRT wants to build private 5G on its own? That's because they are facing a pain point, which is the current wireless technologies are incapable of real-time video. Maybe later after this event, when you come back home taking Taipei MRT, you can take some time looking up to the ceilings. There are quite a few cameras. But you probably don't know that even those cameras are taking videos. Those videos are not transmitted to the control room. Those videos are taken and stored in the disk and can only be fetched once the train arrives at the terminal station. That usually takes as long as 3 hours, which means that in a moving train, although they have the voice communication like an intercom, it's like the moving train is like a segregated room. Those staff in the control room don't know what's happening on the train, so it creates a difficulty for emergency responses and operational management. You know what is that? This pain point is not unique to Taipei MRT. It's a universal phenomenon. Actually, every subway system in the world faces this pain point. And as for Taipei MRT, they have tried different technology before. Wi-Fi, of course, and 4G, none of them worked. That's when private 5G kicks in. Well, you must be familiar with this triangle, the 3 user scenarios of 5G. For this project, it's very straightforward. We focus on high speed, eMBB. Especially we focus on the uplink throughput. Think about it, the videos are taken on the train and uploaded through the 5G infra to the control room. It's achieved. The high-speed uplinks throughput is achieved by adjusting the TDD ratio. That's a flexibility that private 5G can provide compared to public ones. To put into perspective, on the right-hand side is the recommendation made by Netflix. You can see that for the high-definition video that requires a bandwidth of 5 megabit per second. That's for one video only. And you know how many videos. There are quite a few on the chain. So the current 4G uplink throughput cannot support this. But private 5G can. This test result is made in our lab last year. You can see that 5G improves the uplink capacity by 10 times, and it's still improving. So with private 5G, the real-time video is possible. All the videos are taken on the chain, transmitted through the 5G private networks infra to the control room. That means the staff in the control room finally have eyes on the chain. They can take immediate actions when required. What's more, because the real-time video is in place now, we can, on top of that, develop the smart applications, like you saw in a previous video I showed. In this project, we developed quite a few smart applications like abnormal behavior detections, the crowd density detection, and during the pandemic, it's important to know if the passengers are wearing masks in an appropriate way. That's within the carriage, within the train. How about out of the train? We can do the foreign object detection. That's very helpful in terms of the operational efficiency for those fully automatic lines, like Brown line. Okay, one more thing, a little commercial. In this project, we use our Wavin in-house developed DAS instead of the conventional leaky cable. Why? Because the DAS uses the fiber connection. It provides a better frequency response for 5G spectrum. And together with the package transfer O-RAN, our DAS the DAS and O-RAN can be a cost-effective solution to provide the radio coverage along the tunnels. To sum up, the pain point, no real-time video, and we use private 5G. because the uplink throughput. And ORAN and DAS together as a cost-effective solution. On top of the infra, we build smart applications in order to improve the operational efficiency. That's a little about my sharing. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. My name is Will Huang. Again, thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Will, for joining us this afternoon. The next speaker will be Mr. Mario Muliardi. Mr. Muliardi is the business manager of PT CHT Infinity Indonesia, the Indonesian entity of Chunghwa Telecom. Besides telecommunication business, Chunghwa Telecom is offering a wide range of smart solutions to Indonesian and Southeast Asian markets. The topic of his presentation today is 5G private network business overview in Southeast Asian countries. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Mario Muliardi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mario Muliardi from CHT Infinity Indonesia. Today, I would like to give you a short introduction of 5G private network business overview in ASEAN or Southeast Asia countries. PT CHT Infinity Indonesia is Indonesia entity of Chunghwa Telecom. PT means company in Indonesia. In order to serve Indonesian customer needs, CHT set up joint venture with Infinity Intelligence in 2021. CHT consolidates its plentiful technologies, resources, and distributes them to Infinity Intelligence strong local network. Eventually, we hope to offer most suitable smart industrial solution to Indonesian market. Nusantara means archipelago in Indonesia. Indonesia new capital city as introduced as our opening presentation. We can see here is the Kutai Kartanegara Regency and North Penajam Besarang Regency. Nusantara is designed as the main projection of Indonesia's smart city and lead the deployment of 5G connectivity in Indonesia. Describe the area, including the opportunities provided by the new capital city as the ambassador of Indonesia's digital infrastructure that contribute as digital economy. With 256 hectare are national strategic area. Estimate there will be around 4.8 million new job openings and opportunities in 2045. Nusantara will be built based on the 6 pillars of Indonesia's smart city plan: smart governance, smart branding, smart economy, smart living, smart society, and smart environment. Indonesia's digital infrastructure development in line with expected Southeast Asia's digital economy worth 363 billion by 20 billion USD by 2025, which the half contributed by Indonesia. 6 pillars of smart city development in Indonesia is designed based on the penetration of the revenue of telco in mobile operator. This slide describes how the increasing of internet and mobile penetration in Indonesia and its contribution to the national economic growth. We can see here that the mobile subscriber connection by technology, mobile internet user increase year by year. And we can see also the government already create the direction of 5G development in Indonesia, because 5G will be contribute the great value in Indonesia. This is the general insight regarding the connectivity development in ASEAN countries. ASEAN countries made the framework as a master plan, so-called Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity, MPAC 2025, in order to have a strategic connectivity development with the country members. The data shown that digital innovation one of the key issue for the development within the economic value provided. ASEAN countries should be prepared for developing the digital infrastructure due to 70 million people along with 2 million residents forecast to drive 40% of the ASEAN region growth, which is equivalent to more than the current population of all capital cities in ASEAN. Moreover, urbanization in the Southeast Asia is taking place across the urban-rural continuum from the smallest and the most remote communities to beginning megacities. As the ASEAN commitment, we can see that there are 26 cities to become the pilot projects of digital infrastructure. This slide provides further explanation about ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan for the Smart City project. Digital innovation being bold to get audience attention and jump into development for 5G. Disruptive technologies, for example, mobile internet, big data, cloud technology, IoT, worth some 220 until 625 billion US dollar in annual economic impact in ASEAN by 2030, which contribute for 25 until 30% ASEAN total GDP. Master Plan ASEAN Connectivity 2025 provide key strategies to enhance better coordination among different stakeholders, including ASEAN telecommunication, business associations, and councils, supported by government and the policies. We can see the strategies of MPEG 2025 include sustainable infrastructure, digital innovation, seamless logistics, regulatory excellence, and people mobility. Those strategies based on the priority we can see here within the color. This is the key insight regarding 5G penetration in ASEAN. Starting from the timeline of the country's starting period of 5G development, ensure the incremental revenue is mentioned on this slide to give the information regarding the 5G connection. Several 5G connections are provided in this slide, including the B2B and B2C. 5G potential market predicted to contribute 9 until 12% incremental revenue growth based on consumer and enterprise business. Singapore led the initial launch of 5G network in 2020, followed by Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, and Thailand. 5G subscription in ASEAN predict to reach 200 million subscribers by 2025, with Indonesia as the highest uptake with more than 100 million subscribers of 5G users. This slide provides each country's capability to capture the potential annual monetization of 5G connectivity. ASEAN countries capture value 5G potential annual monetization, which we can see the number here in million USD. To maximize the value capture, operator in ASEAN should focus on 5 areas. First, avoid price war. Second, push regulatory action. Third, develop consumer proposition. Fourth, conduct collaborative enterprise pilots. And 5, build a partner ecosystem. Those are the common general application in several sectors that enabled by 5G connectivity. This slide is an opening for 5G contribution in industries. We can see that 5G contributes to many sectors, including manufacture, information communication, agriculture, public service, etc. You can see here. You can see the value potential by technology sector with manufacture and trade dominantly and transportation also dominantly. For each sector, 5G connectivity divided into 5 sectors of technologies, include Internet of Things, advanced robotics, artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality, and 3D printing. 5G connectivity contributes for 30 until 40% increase in manufacturing value-added tax, big part of ASEAN Industry Revolution 4.0 or 4IR acceleration. Potential revenue enhanced to up to US dollar 140 until 150 billion by 2025. Internet of Things leads the enhancement of connectivity potential value with average 36% each sector, followed by artificial intelligence. Those are the players of ASEAN 5G penetration. 5G players in ASEAN group based on their role include equipment and component, mobile phone company, technology solution provider, and telecommunication infrastructure company. Some of telecommunication multinational companies place in multiple segments as the footprint of its business model. Despite the opportunity and development, there are several issues and key strategies for the 5G development of each country in ASEAN. Different operators and countries could form its own strategies based on region's challenge and future development. The 5G connectivity deployment has several issues based on the sectors to be discussed, such as regulatory policies, enterprise interests, and the willingness of telco operators. The ASEAN could see the five scenario for 5G. First, a breakthrough technology. Second, enterprise enabler for leading operators. Third, consumer save the day. Fourth, just another technology layer. And five, operators are infrastructure utilities. Multiple bands are being considered for 5G development, depends on its region strategies. 5G development of Chunghwa Telecom is in a leading spot from global perspective. As you know, we firstly started out 5G service back in July 2020 after merely 1 year and a half. Our 5G subscriber is up to 1.8 million, and we are expecting to reach 2.9 million by the end of this year. And our success on 5G isn't just about the number customer grow. Based on the research by OpenSignal that was investigated between August and October 2021, Taiwan was given bronze medal in download speed, gold medal in peak download speed, and silver medal in upload speed compared with countries in terms of 5G qualities. In 5G era, video and content are vital, and CHT understand that. That's why we are offering 4K, 8K video, augmented reality gaming and book shelf, and bunch of entertainment and sports live streaming on the top of our base in class 5G community service. Compared to the customer category, 5G has an even bigger impact on business due to its nature and character of high speed, low latency, and broad connectivity. CAT has packed and rolled out a series of solutions based on different industries, such as 5G private network solution, AR/VR solution, and other smart solution as well, we can see here. In the past few years, we have seen an increasing demand for data center, and demands mainly come from global OTT companies such as Meta, Apple, Netflix, some semiconductor manufacturer, as well as public cloud providers such as AWS. There is a double-digit growth in this category alone. However, we also foresee that the fact of our IDC is near to full capacities in the coming years. Therefore, we plan to invest on another data center to join existing 22 data centers that are operating. Notice that 5 of the IDCs are in Vietnam, and these IDCs help Viettel to dominate Vietnam IDC market. We are looking for partners in Indonesia and hope we will have IDCs in Indonesia soon. We accomplished several digital transformation projects for Taiwanese government. As mentioned previously, the relationship between Ministry of Transportation and Communication and CST is very tight. So we participate in lots of national projects led by MOTC. For instance, National Motor Vehicle Driver Info System, Smart Port Auto Gate System for all major ports in Taiwan, and Smart Law Enforcement solution adopted by police department in its country of Taiwan. Our relationship with other government agencies started growing since then. Over the years, we supported Ministry of Interior on Electric ID and Household Service Info System. We offered Ministry of Economic Affairs, Smart Meter, and Smart Energy Solution. We helped Ministry of Finance to revamp national tax system and digitalize national VAT refund service. Those were just the tip of the iceberg, and the reason why our government trusts us so much is because we have never failed on providing the quality of our service that we commit. These are CHT Infinity solution for healthcare, farming, transportation, and smart manufacturing. We already serve one of Southeast Asia hospital with the demonstration 15 beds of smart ward and one nurse station. We can see the nurse station have the patient information from his hospital integrated system integrate with smart nurse nation dashboard. The nurse station also show patient requests on the dashboard. Also, we have the self-measure vital sign here. And also manage restriction and high-value medicine supplies by the automated dispensing cabinet. For the ward, we show the up-to-date patient information on the bed head e-paper display, show patient requests on the dashboard, and detect patient status with the TOF and smart bed. Yeah, this is for the bigger picture of our demonstration in one of hospital in Southeast Asia. Let me show the features of CHT Smart Pole solution. Besides LED lighting, we have packed it with video surveillance, digital display, 5G small cell in wireless network, weather station, water sensor, emergency calling, electric vehicle charging, and solar power panel, all in one and fully modularized to fit different needs. Our smart pole is being precisely designed so that it both modern and neat. With our smart poles set up in your city, it not only illuminates but also beautifies your cities immediately. Here are some accomplishments we gained in the past few years. On the top of those awards, the world well-known consulting agencies such as Frost and Sullivan and NGO TM Forum awarded CST as the best in class enterprise multiple times in consecutive years. We received 2021 JET Award from the Asset Research that recognized us as the one company that is caring and striving to ESG. We are the only telecom company in the entire Asia won that award. In short, we want to offer the best solution not only customers but also to the earth. We commit to take more responsibilities to make sure our environment to be more sustainable and cleaner. We are going to increase the usage of renewable energy for our data centers, as we are dedicated to cut our carbon emission in half by 2030 and eventually to achieve the goal of carbon neutral by 2050. As the subsidiaries of Chonghua Telecom, PT CHT Infinity Indonesia has the same vision with its parent company and will bring the solution and service to Indonesian market and ASEAN. Thank you very much. That's all of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muliardi, for sharing with us your insights on Southeast Asian markets. The next speaker will be Mr. Bill Liang, Senior Director, Enterprise and Carrier Business Unit, Far EasTone Telecommunications Taiwan. Mr. Liang has over 20 years of experience in telecommunication and ICT industries. His expertise includes local and international business development, digital transformation, go-to-market strategy, media content strategy, to name a few. He will now give a presentation on the capabilities of 5G private network, from reactive to proactive to sustainable. Without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Bill Liang.
Okay, thank you, guys, and thanks for TC and IDB to invite me to come to the stage again. Actually, I delivered the same speech this morning, and I will try to do the speech again in the afternoon. For those who already saw the presentation, I will try to use a different way of delivering the things to you and to get over the screen. Okay. Hi, I'm Bill. I'm from Far EasTone Telecommunication. Far EasTone Group in Taiwan is actually a rather big group. Our group actually have a different kind of vertical experience. Like in the petroleum, chemical, we also have the polyester, the fiber clothing things. We also have a retail. We also have different kind of establishing different kind of area. So we are actually sort of a group that is penetrating into your personal life. So in terms of Far EasTone, we are more or less like the digital enabler throughout the group, and we're also trying to be play our social society contribution to be a smart city enabler, trying to help different kind of business to enable their business in the new coming era. Okay. 5G in terms we actually connect different kind of things. It's more about interactive and it's more about the experience we are different and show. As well we can see it's a data-driven world as we come into the new era. Okay. Previously, as my industrial colleague has been presented to you, in the old days, 3G, 2G, even 4G, who is the important user of the network? People, us. But while in the upcoming stage 5G, as you probably can see throughout this diagram, it's more about the machine trying to communicate to each other or trying to deliver the possible message into the human as us and also to each other. They are trying to make our life easier so that we can have more time to do other things, okay? Trying to focus on what we can do best, okay? So in terms of a city, you will have like the vehicle, you will have a school, how we do entertainment in the stadium, probably in the theater, and also in the hospital that we can take our treatment, those kind of things. All this information is somehow being siloed nowadays. But throughout the 5G, we're trying to use a one network, trying to make all the connectivity throughout different kind of industrial, different kind of vertical, so that in the ideally world, we can actually share those kind of information, trying to spark a new type of innovation services that we didn't have it today. Just as we run into the 4G, we don't have Facebook previously, we don't have the WeChat, we don't have those kind of TikTok, those kind of application previously. YouTube, Netflix are all new to us, but it all make our life easier in a way. If you are locked down in your places due to the COVID-19, those kind of things are what you can get, like you cannot go out. So we have to order the Uber Eats, or you have to like the Panda food, those kind of things. All those things are those interconnected things. So how does actually a smart city being supported? So Far EasTone actually trying to do a lot of different kind of trial. We're also trying to cooperate with a different partner. We are actually supporting the smart city. As one of my industrial colleagues previously pointed out, we actually think smart lighting is actually the foundation of a smart city. Okay, smart lighting, you can put a pole that can actually connect a lot of different kind of sensor. The air pollution sensor, the lighting sensor. You can also connect a CCTV to it. So Far EasTone, actually, we have a very good contract with the Taoyuan government city. We actually control more than 80K of the smart lighting throughout the Taoyuan city. In a way, we can adjust the lighting based on the crowd gathering, based on the usage of the road. So we can even change the color of the lighting, depends on the weather condition. Some of you driving in Taiwan probably know when it's raining, sometimes it's very hard to see those kind of road sign or those kind of marker on the road, because actually it's lighting, because some places is white. So during the bad weather, it's very hard to see the mark. At that point of time, we can actually adapt the light into a slightly yellowish color. So by that, you can actually see a better road condition and marking. So we are actually trying to improve our citizenship, increasing the safety of the road usage by different kind of a technology that we introduced to the smart city, okay? And on top of this, of course, the ITS is also an important thing that is us being like the metro example shared by our friends, Will. And also the other things I will share later, like the ghost bus. Okay, we call it ghost bus because it's an autonomous bus driving on the road. Okay, so I will share more about the smart transportation later. Of course, we also have the hospital. It's also part of our group business. And with the hospital, those kind of clinic, it's also, in these recent days, it's become more clear. How does the people actually get the treatment if cannot leave home, being locked down? Or those people are living in the rural area, like the mountain area or like the slightly far away area. Even a trip to the hospital will take them like 2, 3, 4 hours, okay? But for them, if they are trying to get a specialized treatment, they may need this kind of trip very often. But to them, it's a very difficult thing. So sometimes unfortunate things happen. In a way, a slogan from Firestone is like we are saying, we're trying to use the network to replace the actual road. So which means we will bring the service to them using the 5G technology, bring the treatment directly to them so they can receive the same type of the treatment they get in the city, even when they are back at home in the rural areas, okay? Of course, smart manufacturing. Over 1/3 of the GDP contributed in Taiwan are from the manufacturing sectors. So that's a strong point of Taiwan. And we do see a lot of increased demand for those kind of smart manufacturing, from chipset maker to all the way down to our daily life FMC type of product making. So how do we actually support those kind of industrial? Moving on into the industrial 4.0. Nevertheless, still a lot of people is still in like industrial 2 something, 2X. Okay, they're still trying to move to the 3 and 4. But with those, still back to the point, data-driven. How do we actually help them to collect more data? How do we actually allow them to use the data to do different things? Okay, so looking at this, we actually deploy a 5G network with our group itself. We're also supporting different kind of various enterprise throughout Taiwan to deploy a lot of flexible manufacturing. We look at the smart manufacturing as an end-to-end portfolio that taking into example from the factory management down to all the way to the production itself. From the factory management is we talk about if there's a possibility of a security control. When a person trying to enter your factory or trying to enter your campus, we can start monitoring using the video, and we can also inform the security. Are they the employee or visitor or even the intruder? Those kind of things. So with all this kind of data application technology we connect together, we're trying to make the all the manufacturing, all the life cycle to be in a consistent place. So talking about the production line, we heard a lot about the AGV, robotic control, even the computer vision inspection, those kind of things. All those are silo systems. But using a 5G, we're trying to make everything connect together. Just as like previously at the AGV, we can probably only let it running in a single spaces because they are controlled by Wi-Fi. And as we know, is that you leaving a spaces to the other spaces, Wi-Fi need to reconnect. That causes delay, that causes uncertain things. So using 5G, we are able to allow the AGV to roaming around the whole campus, even take a lift. Okay, we all know it's a Tesla cage, right? In a way, you cannot send the information in the lift. And besides that, we can also connect the AGV into the security door system. Previously, you need someone or somehow there must be a sensor help the AGV to open the door. But nowadays, everything can be interworking connected. So our private network can interwork with the existing Wi-Fi, or we can even mimic the Wi-Fi by using FWA type of services. Okay. Of course, intelligence of our transportation is also a very key to us. Okay, our citizen daily life we are taking a lot of like you drive yourself, but you know, people make mistakes. We change line too earlier, we might take the wrong turns. Okay, sometimes we also need to a little bit speeding, okay? All those sometimes is dangerous things to the others. So how do we actually support the police department or to reduce the human intervention while using more of a technology to support them? Like for example, recently we deployed those kind of computer vision that we can inform the police station that there's illegal parking. We can inform the person who illegal parking at the right places with a signage board or something like that. So people doesn't need to call the police always while they already been informed you are illegal parking. So we can relieve the police forces to do something else, okay, to really chase the bad person or to drag the truck tracing, those kind of things. So we are trying to use a lot of technology to help to relieve the unneeded wastage of the resources. Of course, like parking management, of course, we can do a lot of like cameras, okay? And then, of course, sharing economy is another thing. It's like, how do we actually doing the sharing, or we can help the insurance company to do a sharing of the things. And also the public transportation. How do we actually have more of the shuttle buses or more of the services that we can actually deploy at a regular basis? On top of it, of course, all this will come down to the CV2X. This is another big thing that we are anticipating a lot. Probably through the network slicing, SA network, how do we actually deploy it? So a lot of things is moving upwards that we actually needed those kind of data to be intact in security protection. So private network can actually very good at supporting this kind of applications. Okay. So this is what I call the ghost bus. Due to the regulation, those kind of autonomous driving on the road in Taiwan, we need to have applied a permit. We cannot really use on the public roads unless it's in certain wee hours. So that's why we have this cooperation with tuning and also with the Taipei City government. We mark out the Xinyi district bus lane to do the autonomous driving, okay? So in the words, we put a lot of the roadside unit and connect it with a 5G. So there's a video, there's a traffic light controlling, and also there's the other of the sensors, like the traffic sensors, those kind of things. So the key thing is that autonomous driving, yes, the car should drive by itself, with no doubt. It cannot crash into people, it cannot crash into something, okay? But when we use the technology trying to inject more information to allow the car to make a better decision way in advance, for example, he's trying to pass a junction or intersection. The roadside unit can inform them whether is there a passenger, whether it's a pedestrian, or whether it's upcoming traffic that might not stop in time. So this can inform the bus to stop earlier or to take appropriate reactions. Those kind of things will make your ride more smooth instead of just like some of our current drivers, harsh braking, harsh throttling, then you will be flopping around in the seats. It's not very comfortable. So we're trying to make those kind of experience for the citizen to enjoy the public transportation, okay? Of course, the other thing is that the deterioration. Okay, a lot of times we use the CV AI is trying to prevent the people from doing things they shouldn't do, okay? In the three cases I will point it out here, one is in a park. Okay, this park is used to be one of those kind of railroad section, junction that is obsolete. But the residential around the area, they're so used to just ride a motorcycle over it. So city government trying to revamp and renovate this section into like a beautiful park. But supposedly a park doesn't allow the motorcycle to go through. So still, after finish, residential around the area still trying to use a motorcycle to pass around the park. But it's very dangerous for the kids playing on the park. People is struggling with is doing exercises. So no doubt you can use a lot of different things, like you can put a blocking plant or blocking things, but it doesn't make sense. So we actually use the computer vision to capture those kind of motorcycle. And we can use actually a warning sign. So we actually reduce a lot of the counts from like 100 to down to 12, okay? And then, of course, in New Taipei City, we also support the illegal line changing, okay? So you don't supposed to cross the double white line or the yellow line, those kind of things. But sometimes it's very hard for people to, they need to do some avoidance or those kind of things. So, but sometimes it's very dangerous, okay? So that's why we use this kind of technology trying to reduce the accident from happening. So we don't need to involve the police department all the time. So we actually have a record like reduce about 250, okay? Now, of course, as well the previous video shows, like, only you want to make a left turn, you stay on the left lane. But a lot of people during the very traffic jam hours, I will take another lane, still trying to make a left turn. So, but all those will make a traffic jam even harsher. So we are trying to use these kind of things, trying to avoid those traffic harsh things. So all this technology will help the safety on the road, improve the safety of improve the efficiency of the road usage. Okay. The final but not least is the healthcare. This is also one of our projects that we actually working with the city government and also with the health department. We are trying to see whether can we actually support the rural area people to get a better health care by bringing in the local hospital or the clinic with the technology that they can do direct doctor to doctor of the diagnostic. Also, due to regulation, we cannot do the penetration type of operation, but we do allow those kind of verbal diagnostic type of operation. Okay, you can check, are you okay? Do you actually coughing? So if you want to check the patient to see if they have a different kind of a color distortion on your faces or those kind of things, we need a very good image uploading, which require bandwidth. And we also need real-time instance. I believe everybody sort of have experience like doing the video conference, right? Sometimes the quality is not good, or you cannot have a chat improper. A lot of times you just want to close the conversation. You don't want to talk again, right? So in a way, we're trying to use the 5G to address those kind of legacy, latency, jitter problem, those kind of things. So all this, we're trying to make as a clinical as a service that we will support different kind of things. And if later stage we can ever have the virtual health ID, nowadays it's on the market already, you can give it a try. So that means you can actually call your hospital or clinic if they support a virtual health ID. You can actually make a virtual appointment with your doctor, and you can use this kind of technology trying to talk with them. So it's very good for those kind of people who cannot leave a home, like due to the COVID-19 lockdown, or some people just have a disability that is very inconvenient for them to leave a places. This will be a very good way of them to get the healthcare treatment. So overall, it's like this. Fundamentally, everything starts from the ground. But what makes the network really meaningful is all the service on top. How do we see the requirement from the general public or the customer pain point? Using those kind of application throughout the different kind of vertical, supporting them with the technology. That actually is a digital transformation journey that we take with our customer. We also took the same journey previously as well. We become our telecom also is evolving, trying to become an ICT player, okay? So previously, we are probably very reactive. You call me when there's a problem. You don't call me when there's nothing, okay? But nowadays, it's like we want to talk to you directly. We want to get your feedback directly. So we become more proactive. We want to understand what do you have, what do you want, what do you need, okay? But that's not enough still. More or less is a sustainability. How to actually grow with you? How to actually grow with the customer? Their business will not stop, okay? Previously, it's more or less, okay, I help you to fix I set up a Wi-Fi. I help you to set up network. That's it. I will leave it alone. But nowadays, it's like, is there a new services? Is there a new application you want to use? Maybe you should do a different type of a network implementation. So that's the beauty of us and also our colleagues around the ecosystem player. We do support the newer type of the thinking mindset of enterprise to move to the next stage so that everybody can become a more sustainable, whether it's a business or whether it's a business model. So this is our fundamental things we are trying to work with our enterprise customers and also the different kind of people to achieve the next new era. Okay, that's my presentation of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for joining us this afternoon. We thank you for your excellent presentation on the capabilities of 5G networks from reactive to proactive to sustainable. The next speaker will be Mr. Kieran Arnold, who has held various senior technical and executive roles over the past 30 years, which included R&D Chief Technical Officer for Orange, France Telecom R&D, Head of Payload Systems Engineering, Airbus Space and Defense. Currently, he is the Chief Architect of Future Networks and Systems, Satellite Applications Catapult, UK. And the topic of his presentation today will be Private 5G, an enabler to smart city. So without further ado, I will now turn the program over to Mr. Kieran Arnold.
Thank you very much, and I thank everyone for this kind invitation to present today. And I'll run through in the next few minutes what we've achieved in one of our smart cities within the United Kingdom, some of the lessons we've learned over the last 3 years deploying private 5G networks, and some of the challenges that we face in the future when we take forward this over the next 3 to 5 years. So just a little bit of background about Satellite Applications Catapult. We are a UK government-funded research and technology organisation. We specialise in communications technologies and exploitation of future space assets, as well as the integration of non-terrestrial networks and terrestrial networks. And my research over the last 8 years has been predominantly in the transition from 4G networks to 5G networks, and specifically in 5G networks, looking at aspects of smart city, data acquisition, and advanced information gathering and exploitation of AI and virtual reality within those networks as well. So I'm going to give you a little talk a little bit about what Milton Keynes is and how strategically important it is to the United Kingdom and where it sits within the United Kingdom's technology and research ecosystem as well. So from a perspective, Milton Keynes is a particularly new city in the United Kingdom. It's just over 60 years old. It was created by the government as a growth program for outspill from London. And actually today, Milton Keynes sits in the middle of what we call the Oxford and Cambridge arc, which is defined by the United Kingdom government just over 5 years ago as being one of the strategic arcs in the United Kingdom, linking two of our main academic institutes in Oxford University and Cambridge University. It also forms part of a key set of regional areas within the United Kingdom where growth and technology growth, and where a lot of high-tech companies which are clustered around the Oxford University academic centres and the Cambridge academic centres clung together. And we find a lot of the high-tech companies are within these areas as well. The Oxford-Cambridge Arc, from a governmental and a value perspective, contributes 111 billion pounds of annual GVA to the UK government's economy. So it sits at a very strategic part of the UK infrastructure and is formed part of that as well. It's also a challenging region. It's a very green area within the United Kingdom. It's a desirable place to live, but it's also quite rural in certain aspects of its demographic as well. So while we have large cities sitting in Oxford and Cambridge, the Arc also spans quite a rural, challenging area. And Milton Keynes sits right in the centre of that and forms part of what is now this Oxford-Cambridge Arc. So I'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing over the next few years and what the challenge is as well. As I explained earlier on, Milton Keynes is particularly new. It's only 60 years old. It was created really as a leafy green environment for people to live and work. Now that's come with a very unique capability to start putting new infrastructure. And over 60 years, Milton Keynes has been a test bed for numerous smart city initiatives. And today, where we've taken Milton Keynes in the last 3 years is to enable a 5G network. We're non-reliant on mobile network operators providing that infrastructure. And you'll see later on in my slides of what we've achieved over that. Milton Keynes, in its design as a new city, has mixed both urban transport, local transport, and cycling, and various types of methods to get around to make it a more healthy city and to drive that use of autonomy in the future. And the goals are set out, as you'll see on the slide there, but it really involves today more about healthy living and using transport more efficiently and adopting green methods of transport, so electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and more smart ways to deliver goods and services as well. So that's why 5G, we chose 5G just over 4 years ago to be that, an enabling, underpinning radio technology to cover the whole city. We couldn't wait for mobile network operators to deploy their own technology at the time, so we invested with some government money, just over 200 million of UK government money we bid for, and we were successful to raise just short of 10 million as an investment to drive that 5G deployment across the Milton Keynes area. So I'll talk a little bit about what we are using 5G for and what we sits on our network in terms of the services and activities that we are doing today. So it's important to understand 5G, why couldn't we do it on 4G? Or why did we pick 5G? So there are a number of reasons why 5G was important to us as well. One of those is to be able to run some very challenging use cases. And as you can see in this slide, these revolve around autonomy as a service or enabling electric vehicles or autonomous vehicles to be able to move around the city with a very low latency, high bandwidth connection that can out. We all know that 5G provides those capabilities. So what we've done in Milton Keynes now is deployed numerous autonomous vehicles or autonomous delivery vehicles to be able to deliver goods and services or to move people around efficiently in a more green and environmentally friendly way around the city. And today we are running just over a couple of hundred delivery vehicles, and you'll see those in the top left-hand side of the slide that I'm showing you now. Those are running Starship robots, which deliver goods and services to people in and around the city. And this was an invaluable service during the recent pandemic, where people were isolating or in lockdown. We're able to deliver goods, medicines, and services on the back of a 5G network using these autonomous vehicles without any human interaction with that. We provided the 5G network for autonomous vehicle use, so we're able to transport people in a safe and comfortable way around the city during the pandemic as well. And we're still using those today to transport people, goods and services around the village on the back of a 5G network as well. Prior to the pandemic, we were running a lot of AI services using video analytics. And you'll see in the center of the screen there, one of the Vivacity cameras that we run there. We analyze the types of traffic and the types of movement that are happening around the city, not from a recognition perspective of the vehicle, but the vehicle type. Is it a commuter vehicle? Is it a goods vehicle? What are the trends and trends that those vehicles are doing in the city to try and improve traffic movement and try to segregate traffic as well, and to understand how our autonomous vehicles are moving around the city in a safe environment, in a mixed and complex urban traffic environment as well. So that was the underpinning reason why 5G was chosen and why we chose 5G networks to provide those services as well. So Milton Keynes in itself is very unique. We have a strong technology strategy around looking at early technology in terms of a vision and a concept. We also want to try and drive products and services developments and network service developments as well. And we also run numerous proof of concepts and trials on the back of the city with the ultimate aim to have commercial deployment as well. So we can move from very early TRL3 technologies all the way right through to commercial services at TRL9. And we have a healthy ecosystem of SMEs, network operators, and research academics as well, working together in a very large area, 10 kilometers square area, in and around on what we do with our 5G network as well. So where possible, try to exploit what we're doing on 5G to provide those network services and in numerous verticals as well. So when we talk about verticals specifically, we're talking about healthcare and social care. We're talking about public transport and public safety. We're talking about media and gaming, and we're also talking about support for automotive as well. That doesn't mean we just stop there. Those were the 4 key verticals that we found that 5G in our initial deployment were key to be able to support and drive. And you can see there on the right some of the autonomous vehicles and autonomous POPs that we're running on there. And we've recently just introduced teleoperated serviced vehicles as well, where the vehicle has no driver within it, and it's a standard vehicle which is adapted for teleoperation as well. And that sits on the back of our private 5G network, but also roams onto and moves across onto public 4G infrastructure, where we start to lose connectivity in the wider area from our network as well. So what we've built in Milton Keynes is we have an 11 cell site, macro site. These are 3 sectored sites. And the interesting thing that we've done there is made two strategic technical decisions here is we are running multi-frequency carriers. So we're operating in the United Kingdom on the 3.4 to 4.2 gigahertz spectrums. Each macro cell we have as a 200 megahertz carrier. So we're running at 3.4 to 3.6, and then we also have an additional antenna propagating the 3.6 to 3.8, and we've recently now added the shared spectrum band, which is for private commercial use in the 3.8 to 4.2. There were a couple of reasons to do this. We needed to understand what the densification was within those spectrum bands as well. And we also wanted to understand whether we could do high capacity uplink frequencies using multi-carrier, multi-frequency 5G networks. A lot of our use cases are exceptionally challenging in the uplink because we're streaming real-time video for low latency applications as well. So doing multi-carrier 5G uplink was one of the key areas that we wanted to explore. And we wanted to understand what we would be able to do where we were roaming from both private networks to public networks as well. And that experimentation is still carrying on today. We are running a 5G standalone network. We made that decision early on in our technology strategy not to do non-standalone because of the difficulties acquiring a spectrum license in the 4G spectrum, and it gave us some freedoms in the early days to choose, etc. We did suffer with the lack of terminal equipment that does support standalone mode only, but actually where we are today is we have a plethora of handsets, modems and terminals that we fit to various aspects, whether that's in a vehicle or whether that's people roaming around with smartphones as well. We're quite proud of our network. We have just over 300 megabits in the downlink and 100 megabits on a single carrier in the uplink. And an average latency at the moment across the network is about 7 milliseconds. So well within the bound of 10 milliseconds that we set ourselves for use of autonomous systems. We have multiple UPFs. So if you look at a 5G architecture there, you'll see both control plane and user plane separated. And we do UPF reselection for certain applications where we want certain types of users and services segregated into its own user plane forwarding function as well. We chose not to deploy MEC in our architecture due to the complexity and also the lack of MEC applications that are currently out in the market. But we found using a UPF located very close to, if not in some occasions, adjacent to the radio access network that we've deployed, we achieve the same levels of low latency in our network that we need to be able to support those challenging use cases as well. We're persevering with our network deployment. We've acquired 2 network operators to help support the network in future. So as we come to the end of some of our research, we'll transition into more commercial services as well. And then currently we are currently looking at moving and deploying a low Earth orbit satellite systems and integrating those low Earth orbit satellite systems within our network as well. And these are just some of the pictures of our very early stage deployments as well. We're mixing high capacity DWDM equipment from Huawei to connect to our base stations. And you can see one of our very first base station deployments. They're using the 64 by 64K MIMO Huawei equipment there as well. We have various network suppliers providing that optical, IP and network transit infrastructure. And we have a mix of radio access technologies that we're using across the smart city to deploy that. Our next phase, as well as doing non-terrestrial networks and low Earth orbit connectivity for backhaul, will also involve deploying O-RAN and upgrading our radio access technology to support that O-RAN architecture in the future as well. So I'm going to conclude on my presentation there. Thank you all for taking time to listen to me today. And I'd love to interact with obviously researchers and commercial companies who may be interested, certainly using Milton Keynes as a city as a test bed to run those smart applications that exploit 5G today. So thank you very much for your time.
And thank you very much for joining us. It's morning time in the UK and it's afternoon in Taiwan. Thank you very much for joining us and for your presentation on private 5G as an enabler to smart city development. And ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the panel discussion. During the panel, telecom operators, scholars, and industry professionals will spotlight the trends and potential opportunities for 5G private network development in the future. They will also discuss ways for the public sector and the industry to learn from the successful experience of 5G private networks worldwide. As our staff work on rearranging the venue setting, we would like to ask everyone to please remain in your seat. This will only take a couple of seconds. And for those of you joining us online, particularly the panelists joining the discussion, please stay online and make sure you stay connected. The panel discussion will begin momentarily. Joining the panel are the presenters in the afternoon session. We have Tim Low, General Manager, Transnet Corporation Taiwan. We'll also like to welcome Will Huang, Business Development Director, Wave in Communication. Also joining the panel in the afternoon will be Bill Liang, Senior Director, Enterprise and Carrier Business Unit, Far EasTone Telecommunications Taiwan. These 3 panelists will be joining us in person And we also have Mr. Kieran Arnold, who will be joining us via video conferencing. Once again, Mr. Arnold is the Chief Architect, Future Networks and Systems, Satellite Applications Catapult, UK. So now we would like to ask all the panelists to please go on stage and take your designated seats. And we would also like to invite Mr. Arnold to get ready. Please turn on your camera and join the panel discussion. So once again, we have Mr. Tim Low from Transnet Corporation, Will Huang from Wave in Communication, Bill Liang from Far EasTone Telecommunications, and Mr. Arnold from the Satellite Applications Catapult. The panel will be moderated by Dr. Shou-Yen Cho. He is the Distinguished Professor and Director of the Center for Internet of Things Innovation at the National Taiwan University of Science and Technology. We would like to ask the panelists to please remain seated. We believe that the photographers would like to come forward to take a few group photos. 我们现在是不是请摄影师到前方来帮我们照团体照 Before the panel begins, we would like to ask all the panelists and the moderator joining us in person, as well as Mr. Arnold. 我们是不是也请我们把 Arnold 的影像要不要一起放出来，这样我们可以做一个合影。And the panelists joining us online will also be joining the group photo shooting. 那这样照好了吗？再等一下，要 OK 好，我们请我们的贵宾起立。好，那我们后面的荧幕有要让我们线上的贵宾一起参与合照吗？好，我们现在请我们现场摄影师，我们就先就我们现场的4位贵宾，我们先行合照。好，请您望向前方的镜头，请台上的4位贵宾，请你竖起您的右手的大拇指，为我们比个赞，为我们今天的活动加油打气，按个赞。Okay, we have all the panelists. They're now showing up on the screen, in the backdrop. 那我们后面的，现在我们的外国的讲师影像有出来了，我们再补照几张。对，刚刚我们后面的讲师的影像没有放出来，现在有出来了，我们再让我们现场的摄影师再补照几张画面。好，请您望向前方。Once again, our dear panelists, thank you for joining us online. We are now taking a few group photos. This will take a few moments, so please bear with us. 请问照片拍好了？好，那我们再请我们台上贵宾举起你的右手的大拇指。So, Mr. Arnold, can you put on your right thumb? Put up your right thumb. Show us your right thumb for the photographer to take a few more photos. 好，我们现在在荧幕上的贵宾已经举起他的大拇指了。那我们也请现场的摄影大哥把握机会，为我们捕捉珍贵的画面。好，谢谢。Okay, thank you. Now the panel discussion will begin. As I said, the panel will be moderated by Dr. Shou-Yen Cho. I will now turn the program over to Dr. Cho.
So again, thank you for staying through the talk and joining us again for the panel discussion session. Well, this morning, just in case you did not participate the session this morning, we had 7 excellent talks covering different aspects of 5G applications. The application areas are really very broad. Even though the in the morning, I think there was a talk mentioning about IoT and the role of IoT and the development. I think from my perspective, IoT provided or has provided a very excellent opportunity to help us linking physical world with the digital world so that we can collect data, so that we can analyze data digitally and deploy solutions or decisions effectively. 5G plays a very critical role in the IoT system because as the number of sensors continue to increase, we need to gather more information so that we can, so that the data can support decisions, and the sensors become more and more complicated or complex. I think video, as mentioned earlier, it's not just image, it could be video. So we need to stream the video to the server or to the edge for processing. And 5G does provide such kind of opportunity. I think earlier with our 5 presenter, unfortunately Mario will not be able to join us for the session. Otherwise, he has mentioned about master plan Asian connectivity or the Nusantara, new capital of Indonesia, Smart City Plan. These are all very excellent opportunity to explore our 5G application. But with the rest of the panelists, with their limited amount of time, I think I would like to give them more opportunity to elaborate on the 5G application trends or potential opportunity in the future, just in case that you did not have time to detail describing your the specific application. Maybe we'll start from Tim. You mentioned about 5G is the network providing service beyond human. It has beyond human and reaching to different enterprises. Maybe you can elaborate. In the enterprises, do you see whether or not there are new applications, viable application in the future, even though they may not have been realized now, whether or not there is such opportunity, please.
Okay, okay, thanks, Professor Zhao. You know, for the private, normally we say the 5G private network. It's very difficult to, fix the definition of this, 5G private network. Some countries, they consider private network is a small network for the people, because some countries, their CSP, mobile operator, cannot deploy all network to the small city. So some countries, they have the local government or the people to do this kind of business. But for Taiwan, it's different. Actually, we say the private network can be the set for different applications. But for me, I think for Taiwan, the first important part will be applied for the smart factory. Because we know the people, Taiwan will less of the labor in the near future. So how to have the automation, in factory will be the hot topic for Taiwan, because this will be increase the product efficiency and also the yield rate, then to increase the competition worldwide. So, but for right now, because translate will be based on in Taiwan to try to provide the end-to-end solution from Taiwan technology. So we will focus on this. Then we are close to end customer, especially a factory, to know their really needs, and we provide this kind of service. So that will be our main focus. Once we have this kind of the success in Taiwan, because fewer the component provided by Taiwan people. Okay, so we are close to the customer. We listen their requirements. We redesign for them to increase their solution, and we can see the production efficiency. We see the yield rate increased. Then we can see their competition will be stronger and stronger. Then they will try to grow up to to be lead on this domain and to inquire or like an M&A for the other company. So that's why we are more focused on this part. So today we already select one of the electrical power company, the power line company, to improve their the production line. We did some observation for their production the factory. Because the power, the electrical line is very difficult to produce. So they purchase a lot of equipment, but the usage rate is very low, almost only 30% plus. So that's why they need a lot of factory, a lot of machine, but depends on the order. They can apply the few equipment for production. So that's why we try to improve their usage of equipment, can be movable, because equipment is the production machine is very heavy, difficult to move. So right now we are working with them and try to help them to do this. Once it's success, so there the factory can be the 3 times of the day for usage, and the all equipment also be the less the investment. So that's all the current cooperation with the industry, some of the Taiwan company. So we from ground to do with them. So we hope this can be presented at the end of this year. Once success, we do believe we can duplicate to otherwhere. Okay. So it's my suggestion for what we are doing today, and it's for sure it's very difficult to say everywhere because the 5G private network is very big. The topic can be applied for every segment. Yeah, this is my.
Okay, thank you. A very helpful insight. Although this is not, manufacturing may not be considered as part of smart city application, but the environment in manufacturing provide or facilitate the potential adopting 5G private network, allowing many applications to be deployed. So maybe in the future, in the city, we need to also bring up more fundamental infrastructure so that it can support more 5G application. Will, earlier in your presentation, you also mentioned about something, also very good comment. You talk about uplink, right? 5G private network, because the uplink, for the public 5G network, the downlink has wide bandwidth, but for 5G, you can adjust it to uplink. And for enterprise application, because a lot of application, we need to have video uplink the data. Can you, based on this experience, can you also elaborate on what other possible application can be fully exploit the capability of 5G private network? Or you can feel free to talk about any future application and trend that
Professor
you like
Zhou.
to talk. Yeah.
Just like Tim and Bill mentioned in their presentations that 5G is not for people, right? The focus, especially the private 5G, not like the 1G to 4G. We will focus on the people, connect people. At Waving, we think 5G, we feel the same. We all usually say at Waving, we say 5G is about connect things. And we think the potential will be the to B market or to B use cases. And when we are going to find how to put it, the potential use case or potential growth potential for private 5G, I think we should go back to the basics, like what 5G can provide, like the 3 user scenarios, the high speed, low latency, and mass IoT. And just like in my presentation, it's about a video uplink. It's a very typical application, we'll say. And at Waving, we always say that 5G, especially private 5G, enables a scenario that the video as an IoT sensor to collect and transmit all the video uplinks. So I think just like what we have at Taipei MRT, that's about the surveillance video. And in previous cases, we work with the Inventec for AOI and the other applications. So I think image, especially the high-speed uplink, will be is where we can find the use cases. Another thing, for example, is the mixed reality. They also utilize the 2 of the 3 user scenarios of 5G, high speed and low latency, because the latency is highly relevant to the user experience. That's why we at Waving, we also, on top of the private infra, we build on our own mixed reality application capability. Right, that's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the for a video uplink, maybe I can elaborate a little bit for the audience. I think in the public network, we tend to download video to view. A lot of information we got were downloaded. Uploading large amount of data is not that common. But for the enterprise application, a lot of information was collected from the endpoint and trying to be analyzed in the cloud. So a lot of uplink will be required. So I think a lot of such kind of application require a private 5G network rather than public 5G network. Of course, public 5G network company, telecom company also provide private 5G network as well. Okay, let's move on to Bill. I think, again, although Bill did a presentation this morning, I said that his speech in the afternoon was even better, having a lot more insight on the application. I would also like you to share more on, based on the application you presented, whether or not there are new application or the trend of the application that you see, particularly from the traffic you mentioned about these image processing, and Will just mentioned about video uplink. I thought a lot of problems in the physical world in terms of traffic work continuous. It's not just image. Do you see that any opportunities in that area, or in terms of healthcare? You mentioned about having remote medical treatment. Also, ambulance service, do you find it a possible application?
Yes, thank you. This is a great question. As what I can see nowadays with 5G, as what we just actually mentioned, is more about the uploading of the data into the system, whether to processing, to analytic, to do something else, to trigger different things. I think majority of the thing you can look at it, starting from 1G, we more or less call it a voice world. With the 2G, it's a text world because all the SMS things. Okay, with 3G, we're starting to have something I feel is like a music, MP3 or the CD, okay, those kind of things. With 4G, actually is video, but the video is receiving. Okay, it's like the OTA services, Netflix, YouTube, all those kind of things, which means we're still receiving things. But you know the trend is changing. With the 5G, or 4.5G, we start to see a lot of different kind of interaction with the people. It's like there's a lot of YouTuber, or so-called a KOL, or the opinion leader, those kind of things. They're trying to share their daily life with their follower, the fans. So I think with the 5G, we can actually give those kind of people more freedom, as in like, nowadays, they tend to stuck in a studio because only in studio they can get a best quality of video uploading services because it's a fixed net thing. While in the 5G, we call it the moving or mobility fiber, which means we can offer the fiber-like of experience while you are in mobility. So I think that's the beauty of 5G. So on top of it, with those kind of characteristics, we see a lot of touchless economy being produced, because I think with the COVID-19, it actually helped us to, or push us into moving in the digital world more quickly than we can expect it. You know, previously we may took 2-3 years just move on to the next digital things. But with COVID-19, everybody being locked down in your home, we cannot go out. The only thing we can do the interworking is video. like student having a video session. Nobody think it's possible, but nowadays everybody want to buy video cam. You need to buy PC, notebook, just to have a receiving education in places. So I think video in a way is trying to help us to get connected even more, even when we are in different spaces. So with the AI or so-called the metaverse, although those are more or less the video heavy consumption. So we do require different kind of technology, or so-called 5G, to help us to link all those applications or services together. So I think this is a very interesting world. Nevertheless, we still think about 5G is more a B2B business initially, because all the things need to be produced first before the consumer can enjoy the benefit. So I think in the upcoming stage will be the B2B business first, then we'll move on to a B2B2C business. So some of the vertical will catch up with the 5G slightly later, but I think it's not far away with this kind of momentum we are putting into the market. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Pandemic also pushed the 5G adoption much faster than we planned. I think although we mentioned about having more application beyond people or beyond human, I think improving human life is still our goal with the technology. So being able to utilize videos, really seeing each other in real time, really bring our distance a lot closer. I think significantly compress the space so that we don't need to travel for a long time, spending a lot of time moving a long distance. It does provide a lot of potential for applications. So let's turn to Kieran. So you also mentioned about the smart city application in Milton Keynes. I recall Milton Keynes is a very, in fact, quite famous for smart city solutions, not just in UK, it's in Europe and all over the world. And beyond what you have presented, are there any other applications that you think that with 5G private network, they can be further enhanced, or any other trends or potential application you can think of? Could you share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said previously, smart city is a real strategy for Milton Keynes. We are very early adopter in some of those technologies, bordering on 5 years ago when we first started this journey. Our keen one at the moment is obviously the adoption of green transport. But to do that, we need to provide the end user with those decision points of how they want to use that transport in the future, how available that transport will be, what methods of transport they may wish to use as well, and particularly in pandemic, in a safe and sustainable way, that we can move people around in the city, get people to adopt electric vehicle transport more readily rather than fossil fuel. So getting to show the benefits of that. A good example of that is the city's decided to offer free EV charging for anybody who enters the city with an EV vehicle. We also provide them with information of where the nearest EV and most efficient EV charging points are for their vehicle. If we understand the destination more and they share that destination, we can get them to the best parking areas as well as that. So it's not so much about an application, it's about convenience and about changing the habits of people's use of transport and things like that. The other area which we are exceedingly pushing at the moment is providing information to the end user on the health of the city, you know, where pollution is, what types of pollution we're seeing, where is that located, getting people to avoid traffic and move away from traffic jams, get them being to the endpoints more quickly, and providing certainly people with critical health conditions an understanding of how the city is breathing. You know, where are those hotspots and how we avoid those and try and change those habits as well. So, and also for us is, and as the pandemic has hit most people, is remote telemedicine has become a critical delivery mechanism now for smart city. So it's not just about traffic, it's about how do we get medical outreach to people? How do we support critical health conditions such as asthma or diabetes or things like that? How do we connect clinicians with people, and how do we support the efficient transport of patients from home to hospital as well? How do we diagnose at home some of those key conditions like stroke? And we use 5G for that. It has an amazing capability to be able to support those really difficult applications. Stroke is one of the applications that we support today. It's absolutely important that a clinician is able to understand your stroke is either a bleed or a clot, because the drugs they administer at the point of arrival when an ambulance occurs is either a thinning agent or a clotting agent. And if we're to get this wrong, it would increase the impact of that stroke that you're having. So the ambulance arrives, he does an ultrasound on site, we upstream that information to the clinician in the hospital, he makes a diagnosis on the medicines that need to be administered, and then you're transitioned into that. It saves millions of pounds in downstream treatment of that patient to be able to diagnose instantly as well. So those are the things that we're seeing at the moment. The other one that we are looking at in smart cities, how do we integrate factory private 5G networks with city-based or public networks as well? You know, we manufacture, we have 2 smart manufacturing plants within Milton Keynes, and certainly Industry 4.0 is key to them. One of those factories is purely robotic, but yet they still use traditional methods of moving parts and materials around. So what we're trying to do now is understand supply chain dynamics outside of the factory, and how 5G plays a part in providing materials, quantity, types, how they were sourced, where they've come from, etc. So these are the real key things now that we're providing in smart city. It's growing beyond, if I'm being honest, it's growing beyond a smart city, and it's almost becoming a smart country or a smart world in which we're seeing 5G playing a part as well.
Yes, thank you for the sharing. Thank you for the insight. I think for sure, in order to discuss what kind of applications that we can provide with 5G private network, we need to understand the needs or the pain point of the applications. So your process of talking about understanding, really solving the problem is the most critical point. Once we can find them, we can find the best combination of 5G technology or other technology to cope with the problem. Thank you. So maybe we can also move on, following your comments, move on to the next question. I think for most of you, you had successful experiences through your deployment. I think for sure, Tim mentioned about you have done some successful POC and gradually moving to POS, and hopefully in the future, we can do POB. My understanding of a lot of POC nowadays still stay at POC. And there were some successful cases. How can we effectively transfer such kind of experience to other cases so that we can have more successful deployment on POS or even POB? Would you care to comment?
I try to share, you know, the POC and the POS, okay, based on the Professor Liang's question. I think that before the, 2021, we got some POC case. The challenge is the POC is provider get the government support to prove the technology, but actually the asset still belong to the provider, not the end user. So a lot of you apply some site, we do the test, finish it, then we have to take it back, because not that kind of the solution, the equipment cannot be owned by end customer. For example, we had a case in hospital. We said, okay, can we donate for land? Also, oh, cannot. If you donate, what's the agreement? Because we are government-owned organization. You cannot say you want to provide this information free of charge, then can attack. Because we do not have some the program, some the policy to make sure this can be owned by us, because it's not an asset for land. So that's why we finally have to take it back. So for last year, so right now we are doing the POS. We are not apply the government support directly. We through some the field, like the electrical, the cable, the company. They are the field provider. They applied. On the other side, we find their preferred partner. They do application. So we are team up together to apply. Then the government will fund the field owner. Then they can buy equipment from us. Then the equipment will be owned by them. So they can based on this to provide the service. So that's why first we want to present okay, this kind of the supporting all the equipment provided by us will be owned by customer. They have the process to prove this can be accepted by them, and this will be owned managed by them in the future. Okay, this is the first step. Once this is finished, we accept by them. The owner, their top manager will ask, okay, now you have this equipment here. How to leverage this equipment to improve their process? So they will have the driving force by themselves to keep using that. So it's the first step. The second step, we have some smaller POS. It's not enough because the scale is quite small. And we are from Taiwan. We have Taiwan technology. We prove from this. We hope to not duplicate the success in Taiwan, and then we can go abroad. So that's why we are not trying to raise a hand and say, okay, I can do everything by ourselves. No, we need a field to provide, to request the request. We need a land to propose their preferred partner, because they have some business secret, they have some cooperation process model. So this kind of model we believe can be applied for worldwide. So in the near future, if we have success in Taiwan, if we go abroad, like Indonesia, the company, Indonesia company SI and the Vietnam SI, we can say, hey, hi guys, we can go together. Okay, you find the field, you find the requirements, we team up with you. So right now, our the main objective is to provide the end-to-end communication part only. So now we know we have CT, we have IT, we have OT. So we find the OT guys is field. We find the IT people to support. So we provide limited in CT segment. So right now we are trying to leverage Taiwan success, then be duplicate to worldwide. So it's our main mission. Yeah, for private 5G the segment. Yeah, this is my answer. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think at least I can hear two very important points. First of all, is finding a physical form of cooperation. Even though you are willing to donate the asset, they cannot accept it, creating problem. Another one is you are emphasizing having more validation, demonstration to perfect your form of service, and these can be easily transferred to other places. Okay, Will, would you care to comment?
I have another side of sharing. I cannot emphasize more about a combination of CT, IT, and OT. You know, like a private 5G is just it's a pipe. Like Professor Zhou just mentioned, we need to solve customers' problems or pain points. And take our project as example, we are very lucky to have a Taipei MRT company to openly share with us their domain knowledge in terms of the rapid transit. Let me share with you a story behind the screen. That when we first pitched the Taipei MRT, our proposal was totally different from what it is now. At that time, the proposal was like, it's a massive IoT. We plan to put hundreds, if not thousands, sensors in the MRT station to monitor everything. The air condition motors, the escalators, etc., etc. It looks like a master plan. But when we first met the Taipei MRT staff, they say, well, we have them all. That's what we have already monitored everything. That's why we have the world's highest standard in terms of service quality. It's like, it's very, how to put it, a silence in the room. And at that moment, one staff raised his voice that, how about video, real-time video monitoring? We're looking for this solution. And that's really the moment of truth of this project. They set the tone of the project. So I think the story is that to conclude the story is that we need to solve customer pain points, and we need to really know what they need. So don't stay at your office, imagine. Go out to talk to your customers. Thank you. That's my sharing.
Okay. Thank you. I think for sure it's very much in line with what Kieran said. It's application driven. It has to understand the needs. And you also described a co-creation process. It shouldn't be from the technological side, engineering, thinking of how the application can be developed. Should always talk to people using the application or benefit from the application. Bill, would you like to comment more?
Okay, I think I can share a similar experience as what we just said. Recently, we were working with one of our customers. It's also a so-called expo host. Okay, so while working with this customer, initially they think 5G is just something they can, just like Wi-Fi, they can do by themselves. They can plug and play. But in reality, it's like after we talk to them, the reality is they are thinking a different business model as what we previously engaged with. Because they are still thinking in terms of the buy-off type of operation. It's more or less a CapEx type of thinking. But what in the 5G presents is more or less like a operation. It's like a subscription services. We can keep growing with your business to support you go to the next stage, rather than you just pay one time, then that's it type of business. So after many long discussion with them, trying to figure out who are the buyer, who is the payer, although it's just like we telecom provider provide a telecom service private network to the expo host, but in reality it's like they become a host to the wholesale of this private network, because if there are people trying to doing an expo in their venue, they can actually rent the private network service from them, rather than renting service from us, although we are the one who operate it. So they are like the second rental or the landlord trying to sell this service to their end users. So it's a very different approaches that sometimes we need to get the business model right. And this is a very different, this is a wake-up call as well. It's like, if we use our previous mindset, telecom service mindset, to further engage with the customer, then we are actually stuck with the telecom service type of operation or business model. But 5G is quite different. It's a very new business. We can co-create a lot of different business model. Just as in smart city, who will pay for all the devices, roadside unit, electric car, buses? If everything needs the government or telecom service to provide, then where is the funding? How do we actually make enough money to sustain for this kind of growth? So there must be some kind of new business model form to allocate those kind of resources, data, maybe resell data to some marketing things to generate additional funds. So I think the future of 5G business model is quite innovative in a way that some of us, we haven't think about it, but I think there's a lot of different kind of approach we can take to generate new business on top of it. Thank you.
Very insightful. I think for 5G, because it's revolutionary nature of the technology, I think a lot of new business model may be able to be identified, and new partners can be included. And through the new partner, we can expand the business opportunity. We can not just trying to transfer the knowledge one by one. Thank you. So I'll go back to Kiran. Maybe I'll ask you a different question, because you have been doing a lot of deployment and had some successful experiences. How can we learn more effectively from your successful experiences? What kind of suggestions you have?
Yeah, we've had some successes. We've had plenty of, I wouldn't say failures, but you know, I would say trying to understand where the various technology markets are taking their products and services, how mature those are as well. You know, 5G for us was something we adopted very early on, and probably the reason why we did that is because we wanted something that we could change dynamically. You know, we all design networks with an ambition to achieve something. The reality of that is very much different with the end user. You know, an end user may want information one day, but they might want video the next day. To do that traditionally is very difficult. So for us, it was all about, you know, do we adopt this technology early, learn from what its capability was, feed back into standardization within 3GPP, you know, how things need to change in the future. And I think what you've probably picked out in this seminar, and certainly in the Smart City from a technical perspective, while we've always been using the previous generations of technology to talk to humans, and predominantly in the downlink, in the world we're in today, it's about connecting things. And the uplink now has become far more important than the downlink. So as we move from 5G to 6G, you know, we almost need to be symmetrical or dynamically changing the uplink and the downlink dependent on the application and service, and how we reach out to either machines or people, or machines to machines, or people to people. So we need that network intelligence in the future to be able to decide, you know, what your uplink will be, what your downlink will be, and almost dynamically, as you're doing things, as we're doing this today, you know, is the uplink important for me on my network I connected today? It absolutely is. But then for where you're receiving my information, your downlink is important. So to be able to change the dynamics of the network in the future is absolutely critical, I think, for being able to drive those applications and services in the future. So that's one of our key learnings as well. And we need to drive those equipment manufacturers to understand we don't build networks anymore like we traditionally do. We need to understand how they'll evolve in the future.
Thank you for sharing your insight on the future development trend on the technology. So in the interest of the time, I think we will end our panel today. Again, I would like to thank our panelists. Also, thanks Kiran for joining the panel in the early morning from UK. Thank you, and thank the rest of the audience.
Thank you very much. It was a great honor to be on the panel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Cho, and thank you, our dear panelists. And we thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We would like to have another warm round of applause. Can we put our hands together and give a very warm round of applause once again to our panelists? Team Low, Will Huang, Bill Liang, Kieran Arnold, and particularly our moderator, Dr. Cho. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude the 2022 World Telecom Smart City Conference. And thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and we hope to see you again in the 2023 World Telecom Smart City Conference.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.